Greetings, viewers! It's Cammy TP, Totally Politics, and I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And today I'm overviewing this year's midterm results. This includes the prizes, what I expected, as well as Trump's announcement that he is running for president in 2024. Now, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this vid and subscribe to my channel. In book update, I only have 3 chapters left, so I'm almost done. Now let's dive in. The main thing. Everyone was saying this year that it would be a red wave, red tsunami, you name it, blah, blah, blah. But actually it turned out to be more of a red trickle. Republicans did take back the House, but narrowly. There are 5 House results that are even still counting votes. Of all House races, only 5 left have not been called. You need 218 seats in the House of 435 for a majority, but Republicans have 219 members in the House. Democrats still have control of the Senate. In fact, they flipped the seat, that being Pat Toomey's seat in Pennsylvania. He retired and did not run for re-election. It was Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, the Democrat, versus TV star Dr. Oz, the Republican. It was a relatively close race. John Fetterman was originally ahead by double digits, but at one point towards the end, and it appeared Dr. Oz was surging, and even ahead. Dr. Oz was endorsed by Donald Trump. I was to some degree surprised. I was thinking Lauren Kelly, the governor of Kansas, would lose to Attorney General Derek Schmidt, given how red the state was, and I was also thinking in Wisconsin, Tim Michelle would be incumbent Tony Evers, but he didn't. Republicans were obviously talking about how big of a red wave it would be, so they were shocked to the core given how amped up their expectations were. I think most were, but the Republicans were especially disappointed given how amped up their expectations were for this year. Let's get into the biggest shockers of this year. First off, the most shocking thing about this race as a whole was that Lauren Boebert of Colorado almost lost her race. I don't think anyone expected that. She won in 2020 by 9 points after defeating Scott Tipton in the primary, but this year she won by just a few hundred votes. It shocked me, and all the polls underestimated the Democrat Adam Fish and all the other Dems too. Republicans flipped their fair share of seats in New York and Florida. There were a fair share of shockers in House elections this year, so have that for a whole nother one. Sean Maloney, who represents New York's 18th district, won by 12 points in 2020 and barely lost this year. There are 5 things most shocking about this midterm. Lauren Boebert almost losing, while Sean P. Maloney actually went down. Nevada, which is a purple seat, their governor election flipped, while Kansas's, which is deep red, did not. Ohio's 9th district flipped blue this year. It voted for Trump by 13 points. In New York's Senate race was closer than Florida's. Which of these was the most shocking? Let me know in the comments. Also, Kathy Hochul beat Lee Zeldin by 11 points in a state where Biden won by 23. This race was also supposed to flip. The Oregon governor's race was also very close. And a Republican hasn't won Oregon's governor's seat since 1982. I was expecting Joe Kent to win this seat, given it was lean red, but he lost to the Democrat nominee. Shockers in the House elections. I promised I would make an entire section just for the House, so here we go. 10 Republicans in the House voted to impeach Trump after the events of January 6th. 8 of them will not be returning to Congress because they were either primaried out or decided not to run because they knew they'd lose. Adam Kinzinger did not run. Neither did Anthony Gonzalez, Fred Upton, or John Katko. Amy Herrera Butler lost to Trump back to Joe Kent in her primary by fewer than 1,000 votes. Peter Major lost to Trump admin official John Gibbs. Both of these two lost the general election. Liz Cheney, daughter of ex-Vice President Dick Cheney, lost her primary by 40 points to Trump-backed opponent Harriet Hageman. The only two who were able to keep their seats were David Valadao and Dan Newhouse. Tom Rice lost his primary by 25 points to State Representative Russell Fry, who won the general. I was shocked about Kenton Gibbs' losses. About Harriet Hageman, she won by an even bigger percentage than Liz did 2 years ago. Everyone knew that Liz Cheney would lose, even she did, with her vote to impeach Trump being his most vocal opponent from the GOP and her work on the January 6th committee. Wyoming could be the most conservative of all 50 states, as it voted for Trump by the largest margin of all of them. I was also shocked about Alaska's special House election. This was Sarah Palin, the Republican, losing to Mary Peltola, the Democrat. This was a shocking thing for two reasons, and the most shocking. One, Alaska is blood red, and two, Sarah Palin was the governor of the state. On another note, she was the 2008 vice presidential Republican nominee alongside John McCain. She did resign as governor, though, a year after the 2008 presidential election, which McCain and her lost. In the House election, also, she was endorsed by Trump. What led to the underperformance of the GOP? There are a few things I blame for the GOP not making the gains we all expected it did. There's one big one, but I also blame a few others. The main thing I blame is Donald Trump. All his endorsements in the key races lost except for the Nevada governor's race, which he considered himself moderate and didn't tie himself that closely to Trump. So let's review his choices in the key races. Adam Laxalt in Nevada lost. In Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz lost and Doug Mastriano lost by double digits. In Arizona, both Kari Lake and Blake Masters lost. In Georgia, David Perdue lost a primary, and the Senate race went to a runoff. In Michigan, Tudor Dixon lost to incumbent Gretchen Whitmer by a few points. In Wisconsin, Tim Michels lost to incumbent Tony Evers. In deep red Kansas, Laura Kelly, the incumbent Democrat governor, managed to pull off a win against her Trump-endorsed opponent. Lauren Boebert represents a medium red district, and the reason Marjorie Taylor Greene could keep her seat was because her seat is probably the reddest in the country. Trump is unpopular, turns many people off. Many candidates tie themselves very closely with Trump for some of the race or all of the race, which turns many people off as well. Most Americans are sick of Trump as a whole. The Republican Party is best off distancing itself from Trump. Many Democrats ran off of Republican popular policies, and the mask mandates were lifted at the beginning of the year. Another factor is fundraising in the wrong areas and need of new leadership. Mitch McConnell has been the GOP Senate leader for a very long time now, and I think almost everyone agrees at this point he should no longer remain GOP leader. He's probably the only politician more hated than Trump on both sides of the political aisle. He allegedly allocated funding for the races to the wrong areas rather than the ones crucial to win. Many Democrats outraised their Republican opponents by such massive margins. Fundraising was an issue for sure. After the midterms were over, many Republicans switched their choice for president from Trump to DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Polls are beginning to emerge, showing DeSantis overtaking Trump as the Republican nominee. Trump's unelectability was in full display, causing many to realize he wasn't the right choice for 2024, and he has been along the winning in 2024 GOP primary polls by long shots. That has changed. While they had the upper hand in the issues that matter most to Americans, inflation, economy, immigration, and crime, they never offered solutions. They just complained about it nonstop, attacked wokeness, and engaged in culture wars, which most Americans are sick of. Another thing that may have brought them down significantly was the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which protected a woman's right to an abortion, and now states can completely ban abortion, even in cases of rape or incest. Also, name a new leader in the Senate and remove Mitch McConnell as the leader, for sure. How the GOP can change for the better. Here's how the GOP can change to better appeal to voters. First, immediately distance itself from extreme right candidates like the Trumps, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Lauren Boeberts, the Matt Gaetzes. If they want those types of candidates, save them for deep red areas and states. Some leaders who the GOP can look to better appeal to voters in the future include DeSantis, Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, or Lee Zeldin, the Republican nominee for governor of New York. Move past Trump. I don't think he'll ever go back to the days of more traditional Republicans, more interventionist Republicans like George Bush, John McCain, or Mitt Romney. Most Americans don't like warmongers. Then we spent $2 trillion on a war in Afghanistan, and Bush started it. In fact, the GOP probably should not return to the days of Bush, Romney, McCain type of Republicans, the establishment era. Here's another reason why the GOP should not return to the establishment days given this fact. In the 2008 presidential election, the Democrat nominee, Barack Obama, beat the Republican nominee, John McCain, in the Electoral College 365 to 173 in the popular vote by 10 million. That's more than what Reagan beat Carter with 7 million in 1980. Here's why the GOP is best off focusing on DeSantis, Kemp, Zeldin, Youngkin type leaders. DeSantis in 2018 shocked the nation when he beat the Democrat nominee, Andrew Gillum, by less than half a percentage point. Over the years, he became a popular figure among Republicans for his governing. People moved to Florida by the hundreds of thousands to have him as their governor. He's basically Trump without the baggage. Trump policies without the egotistical behavior. Just 4 years later, he won the state by 20 points. He turned it from a purple state to basically a solid red state. That is such an impressive accomplishment. Same with Brian Kemp. He also barely won in 2018 against Stacey Abrams by just tens of thousands of votes, but won his rematch against her this year by 8 points. Trump tried to oust him, and just like DeSantis, he was more lax when it came to COVID. Glenn Youngkin won the governorship of a typically very blue state. Ex-Governor Terry McAuliffe was pulling ahead at first by double digits, but as education became more of a center issue in the race, his support died down, and when he said in the debate that parents should not decide what schools teach, and Glenn Youngkin campaigned to off parents having a say in their kids' education. And he focused on the issues voters cared about, and actually did what he said he was going to do. Not the 2020 election, which was already behind, no culture wars, and he distanced himself from Trump. His campaign provided a blueprint of how Republicans seeking office should campaign, especially if they're underwater. Glenn Youngkin could unite forever Trumpers and never Trumpers. Lee Zeldin ran for governor of New York this year as a Republican, ran off the issues people actually cared about, and actually provided solutions rather than complaints nonstop about the issues. New York is a state where Biden won by 23 points, and he was able to shrink that down to 11. Many even thought he would be able to unseat Hochul with some polls. He is even looking at a bid for RNC chair. The GOP would be best off distancing itself from MAGA-type candidates, especially in swing races, and for swing races, focus on DeSantis, Kemp, Youngkin, Zeldin-type candidates. Trump has even began attacking DeSantis and Youngkin due to them being potential 2024 candidates and them being more viable in both the primary and the general election than him. Also, rather than complain about the problems, offer solutions and don't wait for an elected leader to offer them. Also, name a new leader in the Senate and remove Mitch McConnell as the leader, for sure. Other things to consider. If you ever consider running for office, do not make one issue the center of your campaign. Sisolak in Nevada made all his campaign issues about abortion, which in Nevada, they voted on a referendum for abortion rights up to 24 weeks, and the only thing that can change that is a vote from the people. That's probably in part why Adam Laxalt lost, because of a national 15-week abortion ban that Lindsey Graham of South Carolina introduced. And federal overseas state level. Other examples include, in Arizona, Carrie Lake made the entirety of her campaign the border in the 2020 election, which is already behind us. If you run for office, campaign on a variety of issues, not just a few. Another reason why Sisolak may have lost is that he was very heavy on COVID mandates, which are very unpopular. So do not put in place COVID mandates, especially in purple states. Lombardo was also the sheriff of Clark County, which holds Las Vegas and 70% of Nevada's population. Focus on all the current issues and move past things that have already happened, like past elections. If you run as a Republican in a swing race, distance yourself from Trump and align yourself more with DeSantis, Youngkin, Kemper, Zeldin. Maybe go ultra MAGA if you're running in a safe red race. DeSantis this year did not align himself with Trump at all and just focused on Florida, his campaign, and governing it, and won by 20 points. The GOP swept the House in New York and Florida, so the red waves definitely hit those states. Given how much the polls overestimated the GOP, if I learned anything from this election, it's never trust the polls. And do not focus on culture wars, which most Americans are sick of. Now on to the Trump 2024 run. So, over a week ago now, you may have heard that Trump is running for re-election. He announced November 15th, right after the midterms were over. This was shocking after such an awful time for the GOP, disappointing results, and him being a center reason for their disappointing year. He announced from his Florida home at Mar-a-Lago. Many Republicans turned on Trump after this midterm after they saw how unviable he would be in the general election. He is massively unpopular, he acts like a 5-year-old, and hasn't even tweeted since Elon Musk reinstated his account and has been at the center of a series of investigations. Most recently and notably, the FBI searching his house at Mar-a-Lago a few months ago for classified documents. No way he would win the general. So, DeSantis 2024 support has gone way up, and Trump 2024 support has gone way down. He is still the only Republican who has announced a presidential run so far, and the election is still 2 years away. After a new Congress has come in, we can expect more people to announce runs, like Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, Liz Cheney, and more. This could be the hottest GOP presidential primary of all time. Those who support Trump in 2024 at this point are likely just in the personality cult. However, it's been obvious since Trump left office that he was going to run in 2024, since he had dropped several hints throughout the past 2 years that he would run. Well, anyways, there you have it, my analysis of the 2022 midterms. Please don't forget to like this vid and subscribe to my channel, and have a very happy Thanksgiving.